Well, good evening everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now for the final instalment of the Hunt couplings, and today we are going to be looking at the standard length couplings in N gauge. Now just before I go on to talking about those, the last video talking about the spring type did create a few sort of well, let's put it like a little bit of controversy, unfortunately. Some people said that they wouldn't be modelling an N gauge because of it, how fiddly it was, and etc, etc, etc. Well, welcome to N gauge. This is what it's like from time to time. And it's small. Yes, it is very small. I mean, when you look at that 68, look at my hand span. It's not very big at all. In fact, I'll pick up the other one. Look, it's tiny, 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 tiny. Now, the thing is, I didn't invent N gauge, and I didn't invent the couplings that were originally on there, and nor did Chris at Hunt Coupling. But he has recognised something that is a problem. But moving gradually into this video, you'll see here I've got a complete Dapol train in front of you. Now, with great respect to Dapol, and I love a lot of their stuff, but they do uncouple, and this is no exception. If I take you in, you will see, and refocus hopefully, you will notice that this particular train has got black tack, sort of partially gluing the couplings together. Now, the reason I did that is because I would go round and then I'd look round and think, where's the rest of it gone? And in fact, before I started this video, that particular coupling here is not got the black tack in. It's usually behaving itself, this one. And I found that pair of wagons over here. So I had to wheel them round. So I'll take it round and you can have a look and see how it performs, and then we'll put the couplings on and run it there. I'm not going to have this video running for very long, and I'm not even going to show you how to fit them because it's the standard NEM type of fixing, and if you want to know that, go back to my first video on the NEM close. Containers do tend to have a bit of a problem. They are very light, and in every single one of these containers there are 10 grams. I know it's a lot, but the 68 can pull them. So do bear that in mind. I've had to weight them to keep them on the track, and it's gone round the track without any issues so far this evening, so I don't expect it to be any other problem. So containers will not be running fast, and I'm not going to try, so please don't expect me to. So I really don't want this to end up on the floor. I mean, having said that, it's kicked off at a fair old rate of knots, hasn't it? Yeah, see, there's something catching. Hopefully there's not going to be a derailment. This is with the Rapido couplings, I have to stress. Just want to give you the impression of what it's like now. Sometimes on the Rapido couplings, we've got that little drop down bar for uncoupling. That can catch the track sometimes. I'm sure I don't know whether it's the same in 00. Well, in fact, it is the same in 00. I've had that happen a few times with the Peckett. But we're here talking about the N gauge tonight. So it's going round so far. No problems over the single slip. And I'm not expecting any problems over the double slip. But do be aware, like I said, I'm not going to run this train fast. Oh, I know what's happened there, and it is derailing. It is derailing. But that is my fault because I switched the point to get the last wagon back on. All right, so actually, it's not derailing. I have to be honest, that has behaved itself. So I'm so impressed. That point was against. Anyway, I will now get the couplings fixed on and we'll have a look at it in a minute. Right, we're ready. Now I have to say, fitting the couplings to this was surprisingly easy, because Dapol have sort of got an NEM pocket which does that, and obviously the couplings are allowed to do that in the housing, but it's a fixed housing. I haven't got that silly arrangement like we did have with the coaches. So let's set it off. Right, horn. And here we go. Now this does have the Hunt couplings fixed now, and I'll show you the speed on the controller. So we're about quarter speed. Now I might speed it up a little bit, but as I said, I'm really not going to have this going fast, because these wagons will literally just jump off the track. The slightest thing. When I first had them on my arse layout, they were a living nightmare. In fact, I hardly run them. But since being on this one, it's a lot better. In fact, 400% better. Well, no problems over the single slip. Coming up towards the double slip. And the point is set correctly this time. See that there's no jumping about this time. Oops, little exit of power there. I'm not sure quite what's going on. There's seemingly a bit of a shorting going on over here somewhere. I'm not quite sure why. There's isolating fish plates on all the points. Right, I am going to speed it up a tad more. And all is good so far. So you can see, I'll take it up to there, which is about a third. Oh, blimey, that's racing for a container train. Now, we'll try and go backwards, but I won't be surprised if it comes off. Nothing to do with the couplings, just because of the wagons. And then we'll see how long the video is, and we might try a different type of wagon as well. There, doesn't it? Well, there's no issue with that, is there? No issues with that at all. Right, I'll stop it when it gets onto the straight, and we'll have a go at reversing. Coping so far. I mean, to be honest with you, these trains just go forwards, don't they? They never run push pull. And if they do go backwards, it's only to reverse into a siding. So this is quite a good test, going around these S-bends. But coming up to a point now, so if there's going to be an issue, it's going to be now. We're over that point. And seemingly over the point at the back as well, that one. Going over another point here. It's the bit coming up to the double slip where I'm thinking things might go a little awry. But to be honest, if the whole train makes it over the double slip, then I'll call that a success. I won't take it all the way round. So I think we've already seen the strength of the Hunt couplings, so we don't really need to see that again. And we've looked at the actually fitting of the Hunt couplings in two different varieties, so we don't need to see that again. Because you can look at the other videos, can't you? That's what I'm saying. But look at that. I have to say I'm surprising myself with this. But there is 10 grams in every container. Oh, I heard a click. All is good though. Oh, sorry, I lost you on cam. All is good. All is good. I'll take the 60. I'll take the 6. Oops, what's happened? No, we've got a derailment. There we go. But to be honest with you, like I said, it's just around there on a particular point. But that's one wagon in amongst a whole lot, and I did say that this train might do that. And so I am so happy that it's got back over the. What I haven't shown you is the Graham Farish newer type of Mark 1 carriages, which came out about 2-3 years ago. So I thought it'd be quite nice to see what they're like. So you can see the gap between the coaches just there. So we're probably looking around between 3 and 4 mil for that. So let's take that train round so you can see it running round in its raw state, if you like, with the rapido couplings. And I'll put the iPad back in here. I've had to plug it in because it's running out of power. But I'm not going to run this ridiculously fast. I think for N-gauge, the sound on that is lovely. I mean, considering the speaker is absolutely tiny, right at the very front of the boiler as well. I fitted that one myself, so I know it's right in the black bit of the boiler. I'll speed it up a little bit more than that. Oh, that bit, when it gets to that point, that just... Whoa, it's like hearing the 37, isn't it? But you can see that's running over beautifully without any problems at all with the rapidos. Okay, here we go with one of the Mark 1 carriages. Now, this is very easy. You've got a pin in there. So you just have to be very gentle, pull the bogie off and don't lose the pin. Okay, that little black bit just there. And obviously the bogie in my hand. So I'll pop both of those down together. Take one of the hunt couplings. Very, very simple, this one. Put your thumb behind the NEM pocket. Oh, I haven't pulled the old coupling out, have I? Just pull that out, just like that. NEM pocket, thumb behind. I do think that's quite important. Push them in squarely. Oops, will it go? Will it go? Yep, there we go. So that's in. I'll remove the other half and that can go back onto the next coach. I normally put the bogie back on. Now do be aware that this type has that gap in the bogie and obviously that goes around the NEM pocket. Now the way I pick up the pin is I lick the back of my finger like that, so the pin will stick to the back to your finger. Locate it in the hole. Now it's slightly dark where I'm doing this, so hopefully you can get the idea what I'm doing. And then don't push it all the way home, just put your fingernail underneath it a little bit. So what you want it to do is rock like that. And if it can rock like that, you'll find that it will go around corners and negotiate all lumps and bumps a lot easier. All right, if you drive it home, you might find you have some derailments. All right, so I'm going to get the rest of the coaches put up. Now, you can see the train in the shed there. Now, I do want to show you the gaps. That's standard to standard. And that, if I move the train forward a little bit, you can hopefully see, and I'll pull back. That is the gap on the rapidos there. And then the gap on the standard to standard. So the rapidos are closer. Okay, I mean, to be honest, for an N-gauge, I don't think that's a bad gap in the first place. But I want to show you what I've done down here, and that's put, if I'll pull the train back again, that's a standard to a close. Okay, so that's probably about the same as the rapido couplings. That's a standard coupling to a close coupling. So, Chris, if you're watching this, I would probably recommend something halfway between the standard and the close coupling for these Mark 1s. And I think that would probably be work quite well. Now, let's get the train running. Blow the whistle. Now I'm going to put it up to about halfway. Now you saw this train running absolutely perfectly on the Rapido couplings. So I think you've just got to remember when you come to use the standard couplings for wagons, it's perfect, absolutely perfect. Perhaps for coaching stock, like I said, we think we just need a halfway house type coupling over the double slip. Seems to be going okay. Oops, let me move that tripod out of the way. Now I'm going to take the speed up a bit more now. I don't want to go full speed with this because it will... These are light coaches, the Farishes, and they do jump a bit. But on a train like this wouldn't run massively fast. But it seems to be coping quite well. Okay, let's stop it and go back the other way. Put it in reverse. Now I'm not going to go fast with this. You can see quite low on the... Because a steamer isn't meant to push-pull, is it? To be honest. I mean, it might reverse into a station or something like that, or even into a siding, but you wouldn't get a train with the steamer. I'll just sped it up a little bit more. Not much. But you wouldn't get a steamer charging at 70 miles an hour in reverse. It just wouldn't happen. I mean, with a diesel or electric, obviously, yes. And more, obviously. But I want to see if it gets round the S-bends. Oops, there's something gone awry there. What's happened? Is that one of the coaches gone? That one there. Okay. Trying again. That coach isn't happy, is it? That wheel's gone again. I'll have to just watch that restaurant car. Buffet, whatever it is. No, it's a restaurant car. I mean, the other coaches are performing quite well, aren't they? That's... I mean, if they're all derailing, then I'd say there was a problem. But one coach could be a problem with the coach. But it's always run well with the Rapidos, I have to be honest. And it does have the Rapido coupling there. So it's got the Hunt couplings on one end and the Rapido couplings on the other end. Is it going through? Yeah, I'll just let the steamer go through and then we'll bring this video to a close. Yeah, I think that's a success. Just letting that slow down the stop. So would I recommend these? Yes, I would. They do the job. Now, I will be honest with you, I did come across a couple which were slightly malformed. Not badly, but they were just bent slightly upwards, just a pair. So when I put them on a particular coach, it actually lifted the coach off the ground. So I didn't notice it at first, but it was literally just like 0.1, 0.2 of a millimetre, but it was enough to derail the coach when we were going over the double slip here. But So you've seen the successful run, but it was just one moulding of all the couplings I've had. So I'm sure that was just one. If that happened to you, I'm sure Chris would replace that for you. I'm sure he would. But on the whole, I mean, it's ran very well with the coaches and also with the wagons, as you saw, the container train. So yeah, go for it. But if you go for the Mark 1s, you want them for the Mark 1s, I would suggest a slightly longer coupling than the close, but slightly shorter than the standard, a halfway house between the two. All right, the top video will be the NEM close couplings that I did before, and the bottom video will be the NEM, well, the spring type of couplings that I had. All right, anyway, thanks ever so much, and normal service will be resumed on the layout next week. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye now.